And thank you for joining us here on PM Express. And as you may be aware, over the weekend, the New Patriotic Party went to conference. And they have amended their constitution. There were several proposals that were tabled. The delegates met and overwhelmingly supported almost everything that had been proposed, including some very fundamental changes. Top of the changes, obviously, is the expansion of the delegates list when it comes to making decisions, election of a flag bearer, the election of national executives. And we'll get the first opportunity to see how this plays out next year, 31st January, when the party goes to elect its flag bearer for the 2028 elections. But there were other key amendments that were all adopted at the National Delegates Conference. Also, we know that the chairman will now be the leader of the party at all times, whether they are in power or they are out of power. We also know that they are going to be electing their communications director. We also know that if you are holding a party position and the party is in government and you're appointed, you can't hold both positions. You must resign your position in the party. There's a whole raft of changes that the party oversaw at this National Delegates Conference. And I'm going to be talking to a man who understands the party very well. This isn't the only key issue that the party has to contend with. This is part of the recovery of the party on the back of that significant defeat they suffered in the last elections. It was the first opportunity to put things right, to lay the foundations to return to power. And have they started on a good note, or they missed an opportunity on Saturday to be even more daring? Some say the changes didn't go far enough. And as you know, the campaign to elect a flag bearer is in full swing. There are so many people who want the job that Dr. Bawumia had in the 2024 elections, and he has something to do with that too. I'll ask him about that. He was the majority leader until very close to the elections, when, of course, we know under very interesting circumstances, he ceased to be the majority leader. Well, he handed the baton over, and those who took over from him saw a, let's call it what it is, a humiliating defeat. As he's seen for the first time in the Fourth Republic, you have supermajority in Parliament with 2/3. We've never seen that before. I mean, take away 1992 when the NPP boycotted it, but this is a significant moment. Can the NPP recover? Let's pick his thoughts on this. He is Osei Kyei Mensah Bonsu, and he is my guest once again on PM Express. I'm grateful that you
Thank
joined me.
you, Evans, for having me once again.
Were you at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium?
Yes, I was.
You were, okay.
Yes.
Give me your overall reaction to the outcome.
I think that it was a well-organized annual delegates conference. It didn't kick off in the fullness of time. The appointed hour, we missed about 2 hours or so. So that really, detracted from the conference itself. But when it got started, I think that we got everything almost right. And I would say that apart from the late start, in terms of its organization, I would say that to the best of my knowledge, this is about the best, or at least one of the best organized conference that this party has embarked on. And everything was almost spot on, as I said, apart from its late start.
Mm. Let's look at the specifics, because there's a lot to go through. Let's start with the expansion of the delegates list. From what Kufuor Nkrumah had stated, you have increased your delegates list now by at least 40%, thereabout.
Yes.
With the expansion of the various levels, the hierarchy of leadership from the polling stations all the way up. First of all, do you agree with this expansion? Were you one of those who voted yes?
Let me say that I've had many conversations with you about the need to expand the base of the party. And in my considered opinion, the best way about it was to really go for the one man, one vote system. Or should I add, one person, one vote. These days we are not careful when we start talking about men. the gender engineers may descend on you. So let me just say, let me be gender neutral to say that one person, one vote system. That's my preferred position. Now this one attempts to expand the base in a limited way. As they say, even quarter loaf is still better than none. So maybe a useful beginning. I would have wished though that maybe we had gone for the one person, one vote system.
Now what stopped the party? What stopped the party from?
Well,
I didn't think that was even part of the proposal. Did anybody make a proposal for one man, one vote?
Yes. The amendments that I submitted, I mentioned that.
Okay, so you had submitted a proposal for that?
I submitted 182 proposals for amendments on my own, but some were taken, some were not. And according to the team, they said some of the proposals that are submitted really goes to the very root of the party's constitution, and that perhaps in the fullness of time, we may have time to have a holistic review of the Constitution. Fortunately, they indicate to us strongly in the amendments that were submitted that we should work towards the one person, one vote system by 2028. So certainly it's still on the cards. So let's see how it plays out.
Okay. Now, with this change in the broad base of those who have the mandate to vote, the delegates, how much of an impact will that have on the party? And this is all happened in the context of the defeat that you suffered. Yes. So something really fundamental must change. You can't keep doing the same things and expect different results.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you need the same harvest.
How significant will this be to your eventual rebuilding agenda?
The thing is, canvassing for, or the advocacy for one person, one vote really relates to letting the entirety of our membership have a buy-in, have a say in whatever we decide on. And if it cannot be done immediately, expanding it the way it's been done in a limited way solves the problem somewhat, but it doesn't really deal with the entirety of the problem. It doesn't cure the mischief totally, but it's a useful beginning. And those of them who now would come into the fray, I believe that would now be accorded the opportunity to have a say and a sense of ownership of whatever enterprise we commit ourselves to.
Yeah, but I have seen articles by civil society, by actors who thought you missed an opportunity to be really radical. Considering where you are now, you needed something really radical, and that this is not radical enough.
That's what I'm saying, that quarter loaf is still better than that. Because, just to repeat myself, my own position has been that let's go in for this. Unfortunately, I think the majority of the people out there now think that we don't have the database of the party as of now. That would mean that if you want to get to that situation, we must first of all undertake the enterprise of identifying in every polling station level, every electoral area, every constituency, the strength or the membership of the party. And I think that ought to have been where to begin from. Because as they say, when you win power, right, you attract many sympathizers, people who otherwise, even floating voters, who would come and cling to you. The accounts have an adage. You say, asemtoa ena uhu adofo. When you are down, you see who your true friends are. So now that we are down, when the party has lost its attraction, or if you like, its attractiveness, you would now be able to identify who your real base elements are. Unfortunately, going to engage in that enterprise, people say to us that it's going to be very involving. We need so much to undertake that enterprise. So let's work steadily towards that end.
You're convinced by the reasons that they gave for not taking that on now?
They sound convincing. On my own, I may say that perhaps I'm not persuaded. But for now, that's the decision of the party. And as a party member, you have to uphold whatever decision that the party has taken.
One of the key problems this at least may solve is monetization of your internal politics. The assumption is the bigger the delegates base, the harder it is to buy votes.
That exactly is the reason why I made that proposal. And I think ultimately we should work towards that end. In my view, this expansion by about 40% may not cure it ultimately. It may work towards minimizing it. But if you want a cure, a complete eradication of it, we better go for one man or one person, one vote.
Yeah, so you're convinced now you're going to go into a primary season now. It's kick-started already with the announcement of a fixed date. Say it again?
It's not started yet.
Oh, well, I mean, now once you set the date,
yeah,
you have blown a whistle.
NEC should meet, and then the
filing of nominations.
Council should meet, to declare the contest open with the appropriate vetting processes and so on put in place. For now, those of them out there, what they are doing, just a mere declaration of intent.
Yeah, we'll come to that, but going back to the reason why many have agreed with you to expand, that clearly lays the foundation for this primary season to be monetized, because people can be targeted. Even 40%. People with deep pockets. We know some of the guys who are in the race have very, very deep pockets, and they will not shy away from targeting delegates, no matter how limited expansion that you have done.
I think that thus far we've not been concentrating on what as a party we want, right? Or who we want to be the leader of the party. People are coming out there because they satisfy the qualification and eligibility criteria as set out in the party's constitution, or even the national constitution. Yeah. But you see, whoever should be the president of this country, really, we are not looking at just the qualification and eligibility criteria for whoever should be our president. We are not just looking for a flag bearer. We are looking for a president or a presidential candidate. Remember what Mr. Kwampianim said in 2007.
Yeah.
When we had preparatory to the exit of President Kufuor, we set out the processes to have him replaced by the party. I'm talking about having a new presidential candidate when he had expired his own tenure. And then we had this invasion of 17 gladiators. Kwampianim stepped in and made a profound statement that NPP, you are not looking for a flag bearer. People seem to think that we are looking for a flag bearer. I'm quoting exactly what he said. He said, for the flag bearership, excuse my language, because I'm saying that I'm quoting his exact words. Kwampianim warned us, as for the flag bearer, any idiot could become the flag bearer. But we are looking beyond, or look beyond the flag bearer, because you are looking for a presidential candidate who ultimately will become the president of this country, right? Maybe you have not sold that message out there well enough. Our own party's constitution dwells essentially on three main criteria. One is that the person must be, the presidential candidate ought to have served for a minimum of 5 years as a member of the party. He must be in good standing. Thirdly, and most importantly, as far as the party's constitution is concerned, it relates to the good character of the person. That person must be a person of good character. Why? Because whoever emerges as your presidential candidate or flag bearer who may become your presidential candidate and ultimately the president, would ultimately assume the role of a role model for the entirety of the country. And that's why you need a person of good character. So you need to apply these tests, these asset tests on them. Number one, as for the National Constitution, it talks about the age limit. You ought to have attained a minimum of 40 years, and you should otherwise qualify to be a member of parliament. The principal thing there being that you should be of sound mind, and you should not be a lunatic. You should be a person in good standing in the sense that you should be in good standing financially and so on. And also that you shouldn't owe allegiance to any other country. These are the salient issues that the National Constitution raises. But beyond that, the Constitution, behind the curtain, expects some performance criteria from whoever is elected. And that is established in the preamble of your National Constitution, the 1992 Republican Constitution. It says that whoever is the president should be able to establish a governance scheme that will produce three things. One, the first thing is that it should deepen the liberties of Ghanaians. The second one, it says your government should create equal opportunities for all the citizens. And thirdly, you should manage the economy in such a manner as to ensure prosperity, not only for the generations of today, but for posterity. These are deep considerations. So behind the facade of the qualification eligibility criteria established by the party's constitution and the National Constitution, if you are into government, this is what we expect of you. Right? It's the reason why Kyei Mensah in 2008 said about the aspirants that, please look at these things. Do you satisfy them?
Those who have declared their intention so far, do they meet this criteria?
It's for you to tell me.
Well, you
I'm
laid out the criteria.
Don't lead me to temptation.
You laid out
I'm
the
just
criteria.
saying that those who are assessing, this is the asset test they should apply.
Your party will have to set up a vetting committee.
Yes.
Would they apply this? Or are they going to go by your constitution and the constitution of the republic?
The combined effect of our constitution and the National Constitution, the product they expect of the president is what I've unveiled.
Yes, but that
and it's not a hidden treasure. It's in the National
A
Constitution.
lot of what you said is also about interpreting those two documents.
When letters are written, right, in the Constitution, not in opaque language, but in black and white, they don't call for any interpretation.
But it brings it back to my initial question. This is your party.
Yes.
You have as much stake in this party like anybody else in your party. Do you believe those who put their hats in the race so far, who have declared their intention, do they meet this criteria?
All of them satisfy the qualification eligibility criteria, in my view.
The basic one?
Yes, all of them
But
do.
you have specified now, not the basic criteria.
Yes.
But you're now inviting the party to look at aspiring to a greater criteria beyond the basic criteria. Do they aspire to that high
The expectations of the National Constitution. It's not me inventing it. It's what is set out in the National Constitution. And I expect that whoever is elected would have this. And as far as I'm concerned, if you apply these, then one person, in my considered opinion, is light years ahead of the others.
Who? Bawumia?
Thou sayest.
Yes, I mean...
Thou sayest.
You've not made secret of the fact that you are in Bawumia's corner.
There's no secret about that.
Yes.
Yes.
So when I said Bawumia, you put it back in my mouth, but why don't you accept it?
This is being biblical.
Yes. What about him, though?
It's good, and as far as I'm concerned, for now, because I don't know whoever is going to declare his intentions tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. But for those of them who have declared their intentions, I think that it's head over shoulders above the rest.
In what respect?
In terms of competence, in terms of his track record, in terms of his vision, in terms of his broad agenda, in terms of his ingenuity, in terms of even his international acclaim, because you're looking for somebody that the world will respect. Evans, let me tell you something. We had attended a meeting in the U.S. involving senators and legislators, other legislators in the U.S. And when, after the meeting, I engaged some of the senators and other congressmen. At the time, Kofi Annan was the Secretary General of the UN, and they were really, tripping themselves to praise the performance of Kofi Annan those days. One of them said to me that I should be proud to be a Ghanaian because of this person. And he said, if ever we were to vote for a president of the world, this man should be the president of the world.
Now,
I was so proud.
It's well and good that foreign partners say that about him, but all politics is local.
Absolutely.
And here's a man who lost an election,
yes,
whose face was on the ballot, and delivered a humiliating defeat for the NPP. He has definitely lost that opportunity to be the same person who takes you into another battle. You change a losing team, not a winning one. Yeah. He's been the losing side.
Yeah.
So what's your argument there?
Kufuor lost in 1986. He was on the losing side. We floated him again. He won. Right.
Kufuor didn't lose more than 1 million votes.
Kufuor lost by 39. He had only 39%. This man lost. He garnered 42% almost. So in terms of sheer performance, his performance in terms of percentage.
In percentage terms?
Yes.
But in terms of real, actual
because
votes.
of where we were and the climb down.
Yes.
Right? But I'm saying that in absolute terms, in terms of figures.
In terms of figures?
Yes.
Bawumia's million plus votes is...
It's higher than Kufuor's 39%.
It's monumental.
It's higher than Kufuor's 39%. At the time, we had 61 members of parliament in the 200-member chamber. Yeah. We were able, just within 4 years, to climb over 50% and garnered 102 seats from 61 in the 200-member, right? Mm. Equally so for the presidential, 39%, he was able to scale over the 50 plus 1, right? 50% plus 1. And he won. President Mills, who Kufuor contested, lost. He was on the losing side. Rawlings, the dominating, towering figure.
I mean, in our fourth report, you find many examples.
Thank you very much. So why do you ask the question?
But there is an exception.
Which is?
The exception is the margin of defeat.
Well,
nobody. You can go through the list of people. From Kufuor, you mentioned, yes. Even the man who just left power, Nado himself, yes. Same, and Bawumia, coincidentally, was beside him for all the defeats. Right. But nobody have suffered this level of defeat before. Also, because he was the ultimate face, in Parliament, you were the majority leader then. You understand Parliament more than most people. For the first time, you've delivered to the opposition an absolute majority. Again, he must take an equal share of that blame too. That is his biggest negative. And in politics, if you want to lead a party, you're ultimately judged on whether you can or cannot win an election. He's shown you historically that he can't, in comparison to the past.
I disagree.
But you can't disagree with the evidence and the facts.
When John Mahama lost by 1 million votes,
even then it's still not comparable.
It was unprecedented
at the time.
At the time,
yes.
Right? Don't forget, he was not even the vice president; he was a sitting president. He lost by 1 million. It was unprecedented, and we all thought that Mahama was not going to be able to bounce back. But he's been able to bounce back. He's been able to bounce back. And don't forget...
So your inspiration is Mahama?
Come again?
Bawumia's inspiration is Mahama?
No. A combination of several factors. When we won by the 1 million, into the next succeeding elections, we climbed down by about 50% to to 500,000, 1,500,000, we lost by 500,000, 50% of the margin of victory. That should have told us something. Did we learn lessons? I think we didn't learn enough.
Did Bawumia learn lessons?
I think we didn't learn enough lessons from that massive climb down, right? I will not attribute that to him,
but that
because
is
he was not
on him. Then.
Because he was not the presidential candidate.
No, but
at the time
he became ultimately the presidential candidate who should have learned the lessons and applied it when he stood by himself with his face on the ballot. He should have applied that lesson. The lessons you're just pointing to that you didn't learn as a party.
Yes.
In 2020.
Yes.
But he was in 2024 in the position to apply the lessons to ensure a different outcome.
Which lessons are you talking about?
But the lessons you were referring to.
No. Listen, I'm referring to the combined effect of what we witnessed. So many things conspired against us. First, don't forget that the expectations of people from governments really got shattered with the advent of the COVID-19.
You're still referring to COVID.
I do, because you see, between that time and 2024, the 60 elections that had happened worldwide, the 82 elections that had happened worldwide, 60 of them lost. Well, this is 82, sorry, 72 that had happened worldwide. 60 incumbents lost elections because the expectations of the populace got shattered with the advent of the COVID-19 and the Russian-Ukraine war and so on. Don't let anybody lose sight of it. President Mahama, even though he had been in a state of denial, in his inaugural statement, he still went back and admitted that it shattered the economy. So who is in a state of denial? Now, apart from that, our own governance also introduced some aspects of matters that contributed to our loss as well, right? People will refer to some taxes that were introduced, even the call, for instance, for reshuffles to be made, which were not heeded to, and so on. If you go to Ashanti region, my own constituency, Swami, we have been talking about the Swami interchange for a very long time. Government, when we had even procured the facility to undertake it, we got trapped into the labyrinth of our engagement with the IMF, and the money that Parliament had even approved could not be released because of our engagement with the IMF. In the meantime, those of them that we had contracted and finished earlier, like the Pokwasi interchange, the Tema end of the motorway, Obichebi Lamte, the Tamale one, people then contrasted. Ashanti is the heartbeat of the party. Why couldn't we do just one? Right? How many people understood where we were? So, infrastructure in Ashanti in particular came up for discussions, right? So, the combined effect of these matters on our own governance also ate into our inability to perform. Then you come to even the party itself, the internal dynamics, the electioneering process. Did Bawumia have any command over that or control over that?
The electioneering process?
Yes. At the time when he came, he didn't have any control over. You and I have been speaking about the monetization in the party, which should be a thing of the past, and we are attempting to confront it now by expanding the base. And I was just saying that these amendments did not travel far enough, that ultimately we should work towards one person, one vote. He, as an individual, wouldn't have control over the processes, right? I still think that that's the ultimate destination for us. If we want to cure this mischief of monetization, right? So the party's own internal dynamics Some people, you go to the constituency level,
But that's the
they
same,
will tell you that some people had their
the same
names on.
structure that produced him as a flag bearer of the party.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That
So he was a beneficiary of a flawed structure.
The negatives associated with it, he didn't have control over.
Yeah, but he was a beneficiary of that.
Who was a beneficiary?
Dr. Bawumia.
Oh, I mean, that have been, I, for instance, have been a member of parliament for 7 consecutive terms. How many times have I not spoken to these matters?
Yeah, you have.
Yes.
You have documented.
But you see, if you're a Democrat, you go along with what the majority, put forth.
That's true. But you don't turn around and blame the structure.
Why can't we blame the structure?
But
for instance, now we have agreed on this limited expansion.
Yeah.
I'm saying that it will not cure the mischief. But that is what the party has agreed on now. And it's my duty to uphold what it is now with the view of working towards further expansion.
Yeah.
Because, you see, in general elections, people don't talk about monetization. Why? Because the electoral college is too huge, such that it will not even occur to you that you want to go and bribe anybody, give anybody money or cola or drink or whatever. It will not even occur to you. That is the way to attaining glory. And that is why we should work towards that. So, even though I spoke about it, the party did not buy into what I thought was going to be the best. I stood an election and I won on many occasions, but I'll still have my principle intact, that no, even though it's produced me, let's work towards it. So how do you say that he as an individual should be blamed for it? So, Evans, these are the factors that contributed to our welfare, our abysmal performance. Maybe I may add the electioneering campaign
but
itself.
You're giving a lot of excuses. You're not saying
justifications, yes,
that the man who's faced on the ballot should take any part of the responsibility.
I've not said so.
But I haven't heard you yet.
No, but I've not finished.
So, but I'm asking you now.
What
part of the defeat?
That is what I'm relating to now.
That's your candidate.
That is what I'm relating to now. The electioneering campaign, its own management, the management of the campaign, the resources that we had, right? Yes, he trusted the system, the structures. Let it go through the parliamentary candidates, because ultimately he's the face out there. They have a chairman who will be there. Well, if a district chief executive is in place, work with him. Why? Because he's also in touch, if he's business-like, he will be in touch with the local people. So these 3 were the faces that were put together, personalities that were put together to manage the application of the resources, so that you'll be able to drill down to the polling station areas for them to be energized to work for the party. I must admit that if you go to so many places, there's a lot of complaint that the resources that came got locked up somewhere at a certain critical juncture.
Where?
Well, people blame the candidates, the chairman,
the
constituency chairman, the parliamentary candidates, that they did not ensure that the resources really drill down to the polling station, electoral area coordinators and so on, to facilitate their work. We've learned lessons from them. So, yes, he was not the person to ensure that these things go there.
But there too, you are accusing him.
No, I'm saying he availed the resources. Did we avail resources? I can tell you that the resources that were availed this time around, ever since I became the candidate for my place, I've never seen a quarter of it. So resources were made available.
So in other words, you spent far more money this time than you ever seen before in the campaign.
Far more resources. I'll not just put it in monetary terms. Resources. And yet, we couldn't deliver, because maybe they didn't drill down to the polling station levels sufficiently, I would say. So next time around, how do we improve the system?
Did other people hijack his campaign, though?
Other people hijacking the campaign?
Yeah. The people hijack the campaign to the detriment of the big picture, the group.
Well, I would say that some people make those allusions that some people came from outside and superintended over the electioneering campaigns and so on. But the man himself insisted that it is not my campaign alone, it's that the party. So at every level, involve the party people. At the regional level, at the national level, at the regional level, at the constituency level, and even at the sub-levels of electoral area and polling stations. Unfortunately, I must admit, at least from the evidence that I've seen, because I was part of the group, or I led the group that inquired into the performance of the party in Ashanti. And the reports that came to us so indicated. So is an assortment of reasons that combine to put us to where we now are. But I think that if we do what is right and appropriate and do it in good time, we'll be able to overcome the obstacles.
He obviously will have key contenders. In fact, already does have, because some of them have already declared their intentions.
Yes.
Who among the field do you think will pose the biggest threat?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't know who is coming and who is not coming.
Kennedy Japan obviously has said he is running. He's declared.
Oh, he is running.
Yes. Will he be the biggest threat?
I can't from the top of my head make that declaration, because as I said, we don't know the full complement of those of them who will be coming.
I mean, at least we can work with what we know now. What we know now is that he's running, Brian is running, and you also have a Duchum running. At least from those that we know now, who will be his biggest threat?
Well, because Ken made his intention known ahead of time, ahead of all others. And he started working early, towards that end. For now, even if we are talking about today's situation, I would say that is above the others in the race, not including Dr. Bawumia, but those of them who have declared to come in. But there are others who may be, better sprinters than he is, and who may overtake him.
But this is not a sprint; it's a marathon. So if it's a marathon, you say yes, he is your biggest threat.
No, I'm not sure.
You're not sure Ken is your biggest
because
threat?
Even in a marathon, the last leg is a sprint.
But you must do well in the marathon first to be part of that final sprint.
That's what I'm telling you. Yeah. Even in a marathon, the last leg is a sprint. Yeah. So don't be. But
from your analysis, because he again declared his first, he actually was the closest to him in the last primary. Well, fair to conclude then that if you're really looking at the biggest threat, he will be.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. In 2008, Alan was the closest to Kufuor. When he attempted again, what was his position? People should not over-exaggerate their strength.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in every race, you must know your opponents.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm asking you. I mean, I know you're a bigger strategist. You're a strategist part of his team.
Yes.
Plotting for him to come back, first win the primary and hopefully win it. You must by now have done an analysis of the field and know who your opponents are.
We don't have the full complement of the field.
No, so far you do.
Look, the starters blocks have not even been put in place. Yes. You think that there's a full complement. We don't have.
No, I'm not saying you have a full
complement. I know some people who have even now imported their boots from outside. They are not yet in.
Boots?
Yes, to be cleared at the port.
What about boots?
Yes.
Literal boots, I say boots.
Yes, you should understand the metaphor. Okay. You should understand the metaphor. So I think we don't have the full complement. And you may see
but I'm asking about what you know now.
Yes.
What you know now.
Yes.
Are those who have already declared that they will be running.
Who has declared?
Kennedy Japan has declared that his intention to run.
Yes.
Brian Champon has declared his intention to run.
Yes.
Educhum has declared his intention to run.
Yes.
Kennedy Japan, I just passed by his campaign office with his huge billboard for president.
Yes.
Yeah, he's declared that he will run.
You mentioned Kennedy.
I'm sorry, Kwabena Japan.
Okay.
I'm saying Kwabena Japan. I just passed by his campaign office.
Okay.
Just by the roadside on the ring road.
Yeah.
So he has also declared his intention to run. Among the five I just mentioned, you must have done by now analysis. If that's all you have,
yes,
holding the rest constant, because you don't know that.
Yes.
You must now know who is going to be your biggest threat and how you strategize to outweigh it.
Not necessarily.
So you haven't done that analysis?
No, we'll be doing it, but it's cyclical, you know, and on daily basis maybe you'll be running through it. Why? Because you see, in 1998, the last person to declare his intent to contest, President Kufuor was in the race already, but the last to declare his intent to contest was Kufuor. He placed second. Others had declared earlier on that they were going to contest, but when the whistle got blown, right, the others fell by the roadside, and Kufuor emerged as you know, the second person. He was the runner-up to Kufuor. And that is why I think that we should tarry a while. That is not to write anybody off. No, certainly not. If you are a strategist, you are looking at whoever is emerging, his strengths and weaknesses, and you also assess your own position, what are your own strengths.
But you've done an assessment already, the strengths and weaknesses of those who have already declared.
Well, to a large measure.
And you're confident that your man still holds the upper hand?
By the grace of God.
In spite of Ken's very strong popularity among the base of the party, the
I see.
file
I see.
of the party.
Well, you are saying so.
You disagree?
You are saying so.
I'm asking whether you disagree with what I just said.
Action speaks louder than words.
What are the actions? What actions?
You are old enough to remember the lyrics of Jimmy Cliff.
Yes.
Right? Action speaks louder than words. Don't be deceived by fancy talkers. Thank you.
Kennedy Japan is a fancy talker?
I've not said so. I'm just playing back the music of Jimmy Cliff to us.
But you don't
when you go back to the studio, please play it for me.
I will. But you don't dispute that he has a very strong affinity with the base of the party, the grassroots.
Who is the... Look, if you're talking about a grassroots, I'm a grassroots man. I started with this party in 1992.
You may have started there, but you're an establishment. You represent the establishment.
And I represent the grassroots as well.
Yeah, but that's where you started. That's not where you are.
If I were disconnected with my grassroots at Swami, I couldn't have, on 7 consecutive occasions, been their representative. I'm a grassroots person. Yes. I don't dispute the fact that he may also have his own connection with the grassroots. After all, he also contested 6 times his constituency, right? When he left, he surrendered the seat to the NDC.
But your comparison...
When I left, as I maintained the seat for the NPP.
Yes, but your...
So in terms of grassroots connect, let's overhype our strength. Don't let anybody over-exaggerate his strength. Action, as I've told you, speaks louder than words. I don't listen to fancy talkers. I'm not saying he's a fancy talker. I'm saying I don't listen to fancy talkers. Let's get down there.
Agronomy.
This is the 3rd time I should say to you, thou sayest.
I want to return to the conference and something related.
Right.
Which is your decision to abolish the so-called superdelegates. By new constitution, it's the special delegates Congress. And I want to take you back to 2007. I was in University of Ghana covering, and you were there too.
Yes.
And on the back of the acrimony, you decided to introduce this measure to try and deal with the acrimony. So wherever you have a field of more than 5 people, you have your special delegates who convene to shortlist. Now that
was 2009.
2000, that's when you went to the conference.
Yes.
But I'm talking about the trigger for that was 2007. What happened at the University of Ghana?
Yes.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So the 2007 was the the reason why 2009 became necessary.
Right.
Yes. But you've decided now to go back to what used to be. Now, even if it's 20 people, from what I understand, the outcome of Saturday, they all go to one primary, elected by everybody else.
Yes.
What has changed? First of all, do you agree with the majority?
Personally, I don't.
You don't, okay.
Yes. You see, in 2009, I, as the main proponent of that amendment, proposed that the number should even be 3. And the reason why we made that proposal was that, you see, in any political party, you have 3 strands. In a political party, we may have the hawks, we may have the conservatives, then we may have the moderates. So in any political party, you have these 3 segments. I wanted our discourse in the party to really relate to these matters, so that we move away from personality cults building in the party. Unfortunately, when it came to effecting the amendment, on the spur of the moment, Dan Boche, who at the time was that the General Secretary? I think he had left the seat. He was the one who started the momentum. Oh, let me associate myself with my chairman, my regional chairman. He was the one who started the movement to go against that proposal and rather increase it to 5, which is what found expression in the Constitution. Today, people are saying, oh, let's do away with it. In principle, I disagree. And I thought that if we are going back, then there's no need to now say that, oh, then if nobody out of maybe the number garners more than 50 plus 1, then we do a second round involving the first 2. In that regard, then we say that the first past post. If you are allowing for as many as possible to enter the fray, it's going to be a prodigal waste of our time. And the most popular at the time who emerges then should be the person to be crowned. You don't want a situation where somebody garners about 45%, somebody is in a distant second, garners about 10%, the rest of them are struggling to have 2-3%. They all come together to undo the one who has the popularity. They gang up against him.
Because he didn't cross 50.
Because he didn't cross 50. I disagree with that. I disagree. But of course, it's the decision of the party. It's attracted, should I say, consensual approval. So I should stick by it for the time being. But in principle, I disagree. But that is the decision of the party.
But that then poses a significant hurdle now for Dr. Bawumia, because he now must necessarily get 50 plus 1 and cross it.
Yes, that's it.
And the larger the field, the more difficult it is to do that, because everybody else is going to take 100 votes here.
Yes. That's the point I'm
making. Does that worry you that it may pose a challenge for him?
Oh, I don't. You
think he has what it takes?
I don't blink an eye over that. I think that he has what it takes
to cross 50 plus 1, regardless of how many people join.
Yes, as I said, he's a man of the moment, and regardless of whatever anybody does, I believe that he will still emerge. I want a situation where he will be able to garner more than the percentage he garnered the previous time, and perhaps attain close to about 70%. If he does that, uniting the party behind him will not be difficult.
If he doesn't?
If he doesn't and wins by the 50 plus 1 that we are even talking
barely
about.
crosses the line.
Yes. Then it gives the impression that, oh, he's not carrying the entire party behind him. Right.
He needs an Kufuor victory. That kind of very emphatic.
Very emphatic victory.
But you know, knowing the party that you know, and what I observe from outside,
right,
that the current arrangement, the quality and strength of the people in the race, it seems highly unlikely that he gets 70%. Highly unlikely that he even gets 55%. Because this is a man that when he was the vice president, with all the resources, the state machinery, everything, the incumbent president has endorsed him. He still struggled to reach 60, 70.
Did he?
He didn't get 70.
No, what I'm saying, did the incumbent president at the time endorse him?
Well,
did he?
He had his tacit support. He did definitely. I mean, it was a no.
I'm just
tell
asking.
me, did Kufuor support him then?
Well, you are saying, you are putting.
I'm asking you. I mean, I'm outside.
You made a definitive statement. That's why I'm asking you.
Well, I'm rephrasing now. Having given me that answer, yes, which possibly shows that I may be wrong, did Kufuor support him in last year?
He was the president and he was his vice president.
So did he support him?
I want to believe so, but it's difficult for me to really state that case. I want to believe.
Well, what's difficult about it? You were Minister for Parliamentary Affairs.
Yes, he never told me that. He never told me that. And he never told this at Cabinet. At Cabinet, he was always insistent that anybody who emerged victorious, he was going to support.
Yeah.
And he didn't say so on one occasion. On at least the meetings that I attended, because there were a couple of meetings in the election year that I couldn't attend because of our schedule in Parliament. But those ones that I attended, on at least 4 different occasions, he made this statement.
So we can then say that in the primary, the vice president then did not have the explicit support of his boss, Kufuor.
I'm saying that, as far as I'm concerned, he didn't make that statement at Cabinet. But cabinet decisions should not, or discussions should not be brought out here. Normally we have what we call political discussions after Cabinet. Those ones, we don't swear any oath of secrecy. It's the reason why I'm telling you this, because it was outside the strict Cabinet confines, that at those meetings, he never
expresses a preference for him.
Yes,
or
that
against
anyone who emerges victorious will be the person.
You know, the back to his phrase that he used, actions speak louder. In his actions, did he support?
And that's why I'm saying that it's difficult for me to see, because, look, in Ashanti region, I was one of the people who were in charge of mobilizing funds for Dr. Bawumia. We succeeded in getting what we wanted to get and had excess liquidity. And then we then decided to use what we garnered to support his effort in Western North, Bono, Ahafo, Bono East. I know what we went through.
Where did you go to?
No, I'm talking about garnering resources to support Bawumia. So when people make those statements as you have just made, that Kufuor supported him, he used government machinery to support him, I struggle a bit.
But you also can't tell me if he didn't. That
is why I'm saying that me as an individual, he never said so to me. And I was close to Kufuor. In my private conversations with him, he never said so. He insisted that whoever emerged victorious, you support him. Right? And so, as far as I'm concerned, he was even-handed. But, as I've said, everything considered, he, at the time, was the president. He was his vice president. And they had worked closely together. So maybe if between he and him, he supported him, that one, I cannot tell. But to the best of my knowledge, right, in the lead up to the primaries, whatever we're able to mobilize, we did it on our own. But for you, maybe he, on my blind side, and I will not pretend to be closer to Kufuor than his own vice president.
But let me ask you about now.
Yes.
In fact, it was Arthur Kennedy who said on my show once, very recently, that he can see on authority that Kufuor has expressly, even if he had any support for him, said he's never going to support Bawumia going forward. Is that true?
But the person who told you is the person that you have asked.
Well, I'm asking because you're close to him.
No. You said as a Kennedy it was who told you that.
Who said it on my show on PMX.
And then you asked him, what's your evidence?
Well, yes, he says he is, what he knows from the party and from those who are close to Kufuor. Is that true, though?
Well, from what I know in the party, I would say that Kufuor has not made that open declaration anywhere.
As it's actually shown that he doesn't...
Well, I've heard that people have said that he has said somewhere that he's not going to support him. But if you ask me whether I have evidence to that effect, I'll not be able to produce that. So that is why I'm asking you, the person who had the courage to tell you that, you should have put him on the carpet, produce the evidence. I mean, and now you leave him and you are coming to ask me that I should show evidence.
But you've just made the point that this is chatter within the part that you've also heard. This is conversation with the part that you've also heard, that he said it somewhere.
Well, I've heard from some birds who have whispered in my ears.
That he said somewhere?
That he said somewhere, and those of them, I wouldn't even say secondary or third-party sources, perhaps fourth-party sources. That is difficult to really...
And those of them, you were making a point, how did you hear what he said exactly?
Well, they said, oh, they have heard through some third parties that Kufuor has said that he's not going to support him. Fair and fine. I have not heard. But we'll take it like that. The man is his own man. He has decided to contest. And in 2008, rumors were rife that Kufuor, the then president, had committed to supporting Alan Kyerematen. Kufuor, a cabinet minister, exited. He was on his own. And yet, even when Kufuor was the president, and as we're told, supported the bid of Kyerematen, with his position as president, Alan didn't win. Kufuor won it. Kufuor is no longer the president anyway. So if it is true, I don't want to believe that it is true. But if it is true, like he walked through fire and won, Bawumia can also walk through fire and win.
With or without his...
With or without. But I don't want to believe that it is true. I don't want to believe that what people are saying out there is true.
Let's talk about another former president, John Kufuor. You were instrumental, from what I hear, in reaching out to him recently on the back of the reports that we saw in the video that we watched. How did that go?
My encounter with him, with President Kufuor.
Yes.
Well, we had several meetings, and his concern has always been how to unite the party, and especially after our, most improbable performance. He is very concerned that we get it right this time, and unite behind whoever we choose to be the leader and move forward in unison. That's been his concern. And that we should also confine ourselves to the principles and ideologies of the party. We should stand out amongst others as the party of, business people, as the party of the academicians, as the party of the ordinary people, right? Don't forget, Buzia was touted as Nkrasifu Abai, right? So he is urging us to really reaffirm our belief in the party's ideology and reposition ourselves. So generally, that's been his sing-song.
And did he really feel pain that he may have been sidelined, as was reported, and we had him at least articulate?
Not that I know of, but you see, if a person says that I want to be involved in as many of the business of the party as possible, right? You must make that distinction between the person saying that I've been neglected, right? In any event, when we asked some people to engage him, including his own grandson, Dr. Matthew Okuprempe, Irene Toshi, the immediate past administrator of the Common Fund,
Katie Hammond,
and who else? I think it's Siema, former Minister for Transport, to engage him. He refuted that claim that no, that was not the position that he was really advocating, even though he wants to be involved. He thinks that now he is capable of, being engaged. Okay. all the more for him to have the opportunity to express his own feelings about events and how to move the party forward. But it was made to appear as if Kufuor was saying that he had been sidelined. That was not the position. And the reports that he brought back to the party really negatived the kind of impression that video clip sought to portray.
That's Osei Kyei Mensah Bonsu. I'm going to take a break. When I return, I'll ask him about the Constitutional Review Committee's work. I mean, when he was a Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, he started his own committee to try and do something very similar. I'll ask him his thoughts on the work they've done so far and what outcomes he's expecting from there. We'll talk about Ghana. He has an opportunity to assess the last 6 months of John Dramani Mahama, what his thoughts are about that. But then we'll also end by talking about his party a bit more. On the back of the changes that they've done recently, there are a few more issues that I want to pick his thoughts on. Why are they electing their communications director, for example? He's the one who has said to me many times that he doesn't believe every position in the party must be one that must be elected. And so why is the party then choosing to elect a position that should be reserved for professionals and others? Stay with me here on PM Express. Thank you for staying with us on PM Express. My guest is Osei Kyei Mensah Bonsu. PM Express is always brought to you by Syntax Tanks, also brought to you by Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, and also by Academic Times newspaper. Mr. Kyei Mensah Bonsu, let's deal with something that happened very recently in Abulikuma North. A lot has been said about it, about the chaos that has ensued there, etc. The party was put in a very difficult position, and I know the council had reviewed it, National Executive Committee had reviewed it, where the candidate decides to defy the party. She's come out to apologize now. Has the party put that episode behind it now? Well, because it showed the party is in disarray for a party to meet and take a decision for only the party's candidate to say she's doing something completely different.
Well, sometimes it's difficult to disengage a person who has his or her own ambitions. So I, as an individual, reclining to really reassess the situation, thought that what happened was going to be a possibility. I see the candidate also having assessed what had happened in the election. Don't forget, the results of those 19 polling stations had already been announced at the various polling stations. And from that, she had won by close to 2,000 votes. So she thought that even with that, if there was going to be a rerun, she stood the position of winning the 19 stations. The party argued from a principled position that the 19 stations had all been counted. The NDC subsequently raised issues with the 19, which later came to 7, because they were talking about the result sheets, which had been destroyed by some thugs on the day of the elections when counting had already been done and records had been put on the declaration sheet and the parties had been given their own pink sheets. So eventually, they narrowed it down to 7 of the polling stations whose pink sheets could not be traced. The NDC said they didn't have their pink sheets. For the Electoral Commission, theirs had also been destroyed. But the remaining 7, the NPP could also not have their originals. Eventually, out of the 7, they were able to bring 4, which the Electoral Commission produced, and the NDC then agreed that that was it. Then they were left with 3. The ballots had already been collated, been sorted out, counting had been done, and they had also recorded same on the sheet. Those three, the NPP's pink sheets that the tax set on were destroyed. But fortunately for the NPP, they had scanned the results on those sheets. So they produced the scanned results to the Electoral Commission. Surprisingly, the returning officer for one of the stations, when he came, said, yes, he agrees with the figure for the NPP, the figure for the NDC, for the other parties. But he couldn't exactly remember the figure for the rejected ballot. Which figure was not going to add to the NPP, it wasn't going to add to the NDC's figure. So it was of no moment. But the moment he said so, the NDC then clung to it to say that yes, if the returning officer says that he cannot remember, then these three should not be accepted. Which is why the remaining two were not even discussed. Which is why the Electoral Commission then came out to say that there were only 3 stations outstanding and that he needed to do a recounting, that is a recollation. That was what they said. And just under a week before they came out to reverse their own statement in Parliament, they had said that they were not going to run the 19 stations because it is going to be a dent on our democracy and our forward march. I'm quoting from what the Electoral Commissioner, the Deputy Commissioner said in Parliament, captured in the Hansard. So what changed? That overnight. And they then decided not even to run the 3 stations, to rerun the stations, but to rerun 19, which occasioned the party
you're sympathetic to the...
Which occasioned the party to say that no, the Electoral Commission has been inconsistent.
So on principle
which matter
basis,
was taken to court, and the court directed that no, you testifying before us, the court had said that you're going to do just a collation of the 3. So go and do the collation of the 3. It ended up as, a rerun of 19. And the party went back to cite the commission for contempt, which was thrown out, rather ludicrously. And one cannot fathom the reason for throwing out.
So you're sympathetic towards the candidate's decision to...
No, I'm sympathetic towards the party's decision.
Okay.
And which was conveyed to the candidate. She was invited, and it was conveyed to her. But she leaves, and then some people go behind her to urge her on to contest that she was going to win. And then we ended up in this, rather unfortunate position. My difficulty was after she had entered the race, which had resulted in the calamity that was visited on some of her supporters. Mm-hmm. How do you proceed from there? And so, in my view, I thought we ought to have forgotten. But the party then insisted that no, here's a case she had openly defied the party's decision. So at least there should be some sanctions, which is why she was called upon to apologize, which is dead. I was looking at the repercussions on those of them who have suffered because of her. How do you position them? They suffered for the cause of the party. But that was yesterday. Mm. We move on, we have learned lessons.
But here's the thing, because you're in Bawumia's camp, I must ask you, keeping them honest, he supported the campaign, the ladies' campaign, with resources.
Yes.
With money, to be specific.
Yes.
That was also in defiance of the party's position, because he knew, Bawumia should have knew that the party's position was not to contest.
Yes.
You must certainly condemn that.
Well, a decision was taken by the party not to contest. Then, after she had gone there, and reality had dawned on her, she then runs to Bawumia. Please, I'm in difficulty. And she said, but we told you not to contest. You see, it's a rather labyrinthine situation. After the party had said she shouldn't contest, the party should also have gone ahead to direct the Electoral Commission that she's not contesting on our ticket, right? If she wants to contest, then it shouldn't be on the emblem of the NPP. The party did not take that further step. So we're left in the quagmire situation, right? Which is what happened. But it was really dicey situation. This is not the first time this has happened.
But this is very clear-cut, though. It's not dicey at all. The party's position.
Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something?
And Bawumia shouldn't have.
Can I tell you something? You put out a statement, and I'm also relating to the statement. In 1992, when we boycotted the parliamentary primaries, Hawa Yakubu contested, not even on the ticket of NPP. There were two of them. It wasn't Achilewo, Hawa and another person. They contested. The party had taken a decision that we were not going to contest. We had withdrawn all our candidates. And when they were contesting and they met problems, they then ran to the party for support, and the party supported them.
Yes.
So this is not the first time.
I know, but
I'm just saying that on principle, the party should have gone forward.
Yeah, but I'm not asking about party. I'm saying Bawumia supported a candidate.
He was not the only one. He was not the only one. She ran to many of those of them who are declared to contest.
Yeah, but I'm asking about Bawumia.
And I know of some other individuals who are not in the race.
Others did, but I'm asking about Bawumia. Because you are in this camp. He shouldn't have done that.
I'm in the camp of the party.
Bawumia shouldn't have done that.
Well, it wasn't official. People decided to,
he aided the campaign in defiance of the party's position.
No, I'm saying. So you caution your offspring, maybe your daughter, who you saw get into the refuse dump. Hey, don't go there. She defies you. She goes there. She's bitten by a snake. He comes running to you. You abandon the child because you said you said you shouldn't go there in the first place. Would you abandon the child?
Well, but that's not the same.
Would the principle be the same? Would you abandon the child?
No, but this is not a child. This is a full-grown adult.
We are talking about principles. We are talking about principles. You are talking about principles.
You know, and another
somebody from your outfit, right? She's supposed to be working in your unit. Time is not up for the person to leave, and she steps out. She gets knocked down by a vehicle. Time was not up for the person to leave. She left. So you abandon the person. Would you do that?
Again, it's not the same analogy. These are apples and oranges here. But let me ask you. Let me ask the question I've always wanted.
Since you don't want to be candid on this.
No, I mean it's apples and oranges. Let me ask the question I've always wanted to ask you, since I started talking to you. What really happened that led to your exit from the majority leader's position? I mean, the last time I spoke to you about it, when it shortly happened, you were very, but now this time has passed. You know how they declassify information? This is your time to declassify. Well, what happened?
It's not yet time to declassify.
It's time.
You'll find it in the book that I'm writing. It's not yet declassified.
But what happened?
I've told you it's not yet declassified. You want to trump me?
Are you using Trump as in Donald, or this is?
This is my own version of Trump.
But I'm curious about what happened. Were you forced out?
Your curiosity will be satisfied.
Were you forced out?
In the fullness of time, your curiosity will be
because
satisfied.
Some have told me that the story you told me when I first had the opportunity to talk to you last year, when this freshly happened, wasn't exactly the case.
It was embellished?
That you actually held back quite a bit, that you were engaged in deliberate withholding of information.
And now?
And now maybe you're in a position to share the truth. You were forced out, from what I understand. That Kufuor had a hand in forcing you out. That you were told to the face that there's no way you're going to continue as a majority leader. And you being magnanimous, you just didn't want to fight at the time, and so you left.
Well, I don't know that. I have never known that you are an octopus, Paul. The first will come out. I'll get to know.
So you were forced out.
You are saying that.
Didn't walk.
You are saying that whether I walked out, I ran out, or I crawled out, the facts will come to you.
When?
In the fullness of time.
You're writing a book.
In the fullness of time, you'll get to know.
But you're writing a book.
I should be.
Okay, you started already.
I should be writing.
What would you write in this chapter? The chapter that saw the longest serving leader.
I'm writing 3 books at the same time.
3 books?
At the same time.
Okay. One about
myself.
Mm-hmm. Why 3 books? What are they?
The one is about my life as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
How I started life from nowhere to somewhere. And the other will be my life in politics. And the third one will be life after Parliament.
Okay.
Yeah.
Life after Parliament. It's been 6 months plus since you exited finally. How's it been?
We'll discover that.
You tell me.
You will discover that.
I will
discover
early
days. These are early days.
You've been
in
6
life.
months. Are you enjoying it? Are you missing
after
it?
life. Come again?
Are you enjoying it? Are you missing it? Are you enjoying life without parliamentary hustle and bustle, or you're missing being there and being in the engine?
Both. Sometimes you watch proceedings and it's like, oh, okay, I would have done this differently.
You still watch proceedings?
Sometimes.
Okay.
That's why I said sometimes when I watch, sometimes, not every time, but most times I have scant time looking at it. But even if it's a playback, you tell yourself that, okay, I would have done things differently. That is not in any way to, run down those of them in charge. They are doing their best for the time being. And
how is Afenyo doing?
Come again?
So far, how is Afenyo doing so far?
Well, not badly. Not badly. But he's just started. So let's see how he grows up in that sphere or space around him.
He has a very difficult task, considering how diminished the minority is, and also considering that for the first time they're going to confront a majority with an absolute majority, a 2/3 majority. You must have some sympathy for him, that his task is a really, really difficult one.
In 1993, there were only two opposition figures in Parliament. The rest of the parties, the NDC, had split into 3 groups: the EGL, the NCP, and NDC proper. They control Parliament, except 2 seats occupied by Hawa Yakubu and this person that I forget. Was it between Achilewo and
John Ndebugri?
Yes.
PNC?
PNC. Yakubu was also in PNC, don't forget.
Yeah.
I think it was, and the PNC had decided not to contest. And the 2 of them contested anyway. Yet we had them to scamper and, find resources for them to contest. As individuals, not as a political party. But when they came, they were able to shine in Parliament, even 2. We were 61 in the 200-member chamber. I'm talking about the NPP. In terms of percentage, ours was just about 31%. The NDC towered over us, and yet we registered our presence boldly under Kyei Mensah, right? When President Mills took over and I became the minority leader, well, without beating my chest, I would say that together with the then minority, we achieved tremendously. And I'm hoping that in spite of the number that they have now, to be able to register strongly on the political radar. And then be a force to partner the party to win back victory. In opposition, the burden of the party in clawing back power is much more on the shoulders of the parliamentary group. And so it is important for them to put their acts
That's a profound
together.
statement.
Yes.
You think the current leadership in Parliament appreciate that on the minority side?
They should appreciate. And every now and then I have some discussions with the leader that this is the position. So you should be better focused and deal with the real issues, right? So
have they satisfied your expectations of them in the last few months?
They are doing their best.
Is it enough though? Is their best enough?
They are doing their best, but there's still room for improvement.
Since we're talking about the last 6 months, give me your assessment of John Mohammed's last 6 months. Impressed?
Well, John has found favor, and his favor is predicated on a lot of circumstances. He's benefiting from many things. For instance, the cedi now is holding against the dollar. And you and I know that it's attributable to many things. One, the Trumpian declaration of the American legacy and what he has done, the tariff system that he wanted to impose, warping the dollar internationally. And Ghana really has tremendously also benefited from that. I think the gold for oil arrangement has also helped in a very tremendous way to really hold the city. And I remember in the
You mean the gold board or gold for oil?
The gold for oil.
That's your policy?
Yes, which this government is continuing.
No, they have discontinued gold for oil.
Since when?
Immediately they came to power.
That is not true.
They have discontinued gold for oil.
Oh, please.
They're not using gold to purchase oil anymore.
Please. I'm not too sure that you know what you're talking about.
Absolutely. I've spoken to the energy minister. This is not a policy that they are continuing.
Please. They indicated to abrogate it. And I said to them to hold on.
You said to them to hold on?
Yes.
And they hold on because...
No, not
Osei Kyei Mensah Bonsu said so.
No. We went through why they shouldn't. You see...
And they agree with you?
Well, at the time, there was no minister, right? But I knew who the minister was going to be. And at the transitions committee level, we had frank discussions about what good it was doing to the economy. You see, the G4O arrangement is the medium, is the vehicle that has yielded so much gold to the Bank of Ghana, such that we have now been able to improve our status from the 7 metric tons that Kufuor inherited to about 30 metric tons at the time of Kufuor's departure. The 7 metric tons, don't forget, was from independence up to Kufuor's time. The gold reserves at Bank of Ghana equaled just 7 metric tons. At the time of Kufuor's, it had climbed up to 30 metric tons. So it has a huge potential. Then because of this arrangement, and because we are not taking from our reserves, our dollar reserves, there was little pressure on the dollar because of this arrangement. And we're then able to also massively build up our international reserves. Don't forget.
But your cedi under you was 16.
Yes, I'm saying, don't forget that
it didn't make
at a point in time, the reserves had climbed up to about $9.86 billion. COVID circumstances brought us down to about $5 billion. Now, between 2022, mid-2022, up to 2024, at the point of exit, when the G4O was introduced, we were then able to massively accumulate about $5 billion, such that about $4 billion, such that at the point of exit, again, we had just climbed.
So you don't give John Mohammed the credit for the
No, I'm not saying. For even continuing, credit should be given to him.
Well,
because
they haven't continued to go for oil. That certainly is not a policy that has been implemented now.
Please.
It may have been during the early days, but now it's long gone. They are focusing quite heavily.
When did they stop it?
Well, I've never known them to be implementing go for oil.
I know what I'm talking about.
Okay. But
anyway, but that's something. I'm just saying that these things have helped us not only to build our gold reserves at the bank, but also attracted, because you see, it came with some sanctions. Your constitution says that every natural resource in its natural state, every resource in natural state belongs to the state. Now, so if you stumble on gold as you step out, you should declare it to the state so that they will know the interest of the state in the finding. So many of them, especially the galamseyers and small-scale operators, were not declaring. And then there was a side note to them that, well, if you don't declare, 6 months after you've been given a license and a concession, you are telling us you are not winning anything. When you destroy the land, you call on government to come and rehabilitate the soil that you have destroyed, then it means that you are destroying for nothing. You are withdrawing the license. Whereupon many of them then migrated and were declaring, which is why for the first time in the history of this country, go back 2021, 2022, the output of gold from Ghana was 2.5 million. At the point of exit, it had climbed up to 4.2 million ounces per year, which is what has made Ghana the largest producer of gold in Africa. It is thanks to that arrangement. So that was why I was saying that they shouldn't be in a rush to do it. And so it stabilized us for the time being. And I think that, yes, they sounded, I've been away for a brief while. If it's been done, that you are telling me that, oh, it's been stopped a long time ago. I disagree if it's a long time ago. If it is discontinued, it must be very recent.
Let me ask a final question.
I'm saying
to wrap
that
up on this.
it really has contributed in stabilizing the city. The other matters. Yeah. Let me talk about it because I mentioned galamsey.
Which one?
Galamsey.
Yeah.
What has happened? Is it on the? Seeing escalation? Or
today, Utah has given them 3 months to do it, or they're going to.
What have you done? Strike. Because we were part of the advocacy that we should stop it as a nation.
Yeah, the advocacy is still very live as far as we are concerned.
You are concerned. Have you been doing that?
Oh, absolutely. The advocacy is live.
I'm asking about your own role.
Of course.
Your own role. I've not heard your voice. I've not heard your voice.
Destroying the environment is a no-brainer. I mean, you have to stop. We all have to stop it.
I recollect Professor Mills's brother, who is with the KEA, the constituency.
Cadman.
He brought up questions about when we're going to resurrect the Commander Sugar Factory. I was saying that it was never going to be possible under these circumstances. He disagreed. There were 3 occasions that he came up with statements, and why is he not doing so now?
Let me ask you finally.
Let me remind me through your medium that he should do it now.
Let me finally, on the last 6 months, before we wrap up, assessing the last 6 months on the scale of 0 to 10, where will you score John Mahama?
In which area?
In the economy, the way they've managed the economy and affairs of this country.
Well,
what would you score? 0 to 10?
Well, I wouldn't score 0. I wouldn't score 1. I wouldn't score 2. Not 3. But let me know. 0 to 10, which would be the highest? Is it 1 or 10?
Where 10 is the excellent, absolutely top performance. Okay. And 0 is failure.
Nothing to show.
Yeah.
Oh, certainly it cannot be nothing to show. And the fact that we are managing means that certainly it's 5 upwards. I would put John between 5 and 6.
Okay, so what, 5.5?
Anyway, either 5, even 6, I would put him there.
Okay.
And I'm saying that he should also own up to the circumstances which have combined to buoy the economy.
Okay. And that is Osei Kyei Mensah Bonsu. He is a former majority leader, Minister for Parliamentary Affairs. Grateful, always a delight.
Thank you for having me once again.
Thank you very much.
That is in spite of yourself.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.